I hate starting these things. I don't hate, it's just like hitting the ground running, you know, you gotta have a pace, and there's a flow going up here in my head, so I don't want to give too much. I guess I've been sitting here meditating for the last few minutes, several minutes, trying to decide what to call it. What do we title today's reading? And I feel very motivated and very guided to show up and have conversation in this space. And right now it's cold, it's starting to rain, and I'm just going into this, what am I feeling, like sinking, like a kind of a feel. And I think through all the noise and through all the chaos or whatever, I don't know, I picked up art oracles first, and it seems like 80% of the time or something that I read from this deck, I always pull this one. And of course, I pulled this one, trying to, you know, reflect and meditate on what it is that we're supposed to talk about, speak to. Is it because it's hard and uncomfortable? Probably. It's this aspect of drawing on private pain to connect with the public. And so, you know, I'm thinking here, okay, well, you know, my modality here at this moment is centered on connecting with people through personal pain. It's like, what do I talk about? Where do I start? Because there's just so much. And it's not in one of those, mine is worse than yours, or this, or pity, or woe, or what. This is awareness. This is education. This is empathy. This is truth. And so there's just been all of this conflict, all of this mental, all of this turmoil, all of this nonsense, and I just feel like scaping goats is the topic here, like scapegoating. People blaming you for things or putting things on you that are their responsibility and not yours, or this whole aspect of accountability. And so there's just been all of this chaos and this noise and this conflict and just people running their mouths, which has been very stressful. And it's created this of like just needing to isolate, recover, and then rest had come out. And deep rest. And I think so much of this is difficult to talk about because in coming out of this space of rest, it's like, okay, here we go again. Are we grounded enough here? Do we have enough resources to address this? Are we going to approach this because something needs to be approached? I think there's a lot of I don't know. Is it responsibility? Because responsibility came out yesterday in a theme. Responsibility, accountability. This is all centered around cultivating consciousness, conscious creativity, creating conscious co-creative communities, environments, cultures, and that sort of a thing. And it's difficult to do because of these social conditionings and these social structures and these precious, how did that want to come out? I wanted to come out like precious demonic forces, because we live in a society that is elevating things that are dark, and I'm just I don't know if I'm just learning this, but if something has been very apparent to me, it's not about how hard you work, it's not about how good of a person you are. There are people who are lying, cheating, drug addicted pieces of crap who end up screwing people over, and they end up on top in the long run, not because they deserve it, because they've manipulated their way there. And I just find it fascinating that people have things, or the people that have these things aren't always necessarily good people. And in order to maintain those things, or to preserve that image or that falseness, they create these stories, they create these scapegoats, basically, to distract. Distractions came up yesterday too. I've got a lot of burdens that we're carrying. There's a big load. There's just stuff that's very heavy, hence the need for rest and all of this as well. If you're here, you can ask questions. Feel free to put something in the comments. I'm doing my best to watch. The app doesn't always stay up with me, but connecting through personal pain. It's like the amount of times that I've had these dark forces, or devilish forces, or manipulative forces, whatever you want to call them, pick on me. I'm coming to the realization, or the understanding, that, I mean, this has happened since I was teeny tiny, of people being intoxicated, let's say, with the spirits, albeit alcohol, drugs, whatever. You're opening yourself and up to the spirits, or these other energies, or frequencies, or forces that aren't necessarily good. And I think a lot of people have had to experience that, deal with that. I mean, there's all sorts of, like, just this, I want to call it trauma. Darkness is coming to mind too, and that, you know, having to, you know, adjust your eyes to see in the dark is kind of important, which takes time and takes patience. But that's not saying you need to stay in this place or be in this place. But again, these awful, dark, devilish forces often disguise themselves as, I don't want to necessarily say something good, or like something popular or trendy, or there's just the, is it that Bosch painting or whatever that I'm thinking of again? Of heaven and hell. Like Inferno, and Incineration, and Inferno, but in the Inferno is like the Diddy party or something. Like, things are not what they seem to be. Why did I choose scaping goats instead of scapegoats? Because I like puns and plays on words. Scaping came to mind as far as landscaping. Scaping, designing, escape came to mind too. But scaping, and then goats could be Baphomets. Goats could be the greatest of all time, but I mean, you could be the greatest piece of shit of all time too. So you want to be careful with some of those. And here's Caravaggio again, which is, that's what I was saying, adjust your eyes to the darkness. Try to keep violence metaphorical, adjust your eyes to the darkness. A head on the shoulders is worth two in the hand. Let's look at this one today, because it did come up yesterday too, and I feel like, how how do we resolve and overcome this? Because these things will, like, people come at you and they'll scapegoat you till there's no tomorrow, and they'll try to run you off, isolate you, put you in a position of fear where maybe you're afraid to share your story, talk about things, talk about whatever, or even if you did talk about it, the PTSD would take away the credibility. That came from something that I just watched. It's kind of why it's at the forefront of my mind. But it makes a lot of sense. And so I think in combing through some of these art cards, there's just this regular theme of not losing yourself in the practice, but finding yourself in the practice, or finding a way through this medium, I suppose, to transmute a lot of this information, because you can't come at it directly or head on, right? The head's off. By today's standards, Caravaggio would have had a medical diagnosis, which is funny because at the time we allowed men to be dark and violent and, let's say, gross, raping sexual predators, like predatorial, and that's been fine and that's been esteemed, where women, on the other hand, have been labeled as hysterical, crazy, whatever, for anything that has made a man uncomfortable. That scapegoated aspect of it. And so when it's talking about in today's standards, right, we're starting to see a shift where that masculine predatorial thing is no longer becoming the norm. And it's going to take us time to shift out of that, because it's been the norm for so long, for so many centuries, across so many cultures. It's so soaked into or seeped into every fiber of our culture, literature, media, so on and so forth. There's just these subconscious manipulative things that are trying to get you to look over here instead of over here at what's really going on. And it's such a consistent theme that gets to shift, but in that shifting and on all of that radicalizing happening, there's just a lot that is starting to come up. Like moths to a flame. Like if you're walking around your beacon of bright light, that bright light is going to mirror back the darkness in other people, and they're going to see that darkness that you're mirroring back to them, because you're so bright, you're exposing all of these things. Not that it's yours and that you're reflecting those, that not that kind of a mirroring, right? And when you walk around, life is a flame. There's moths constantly drawing to that, bugs constantly drawing to that flame to try to, you know, but you wouldn't know that they were there unless the light was there in the first place. Kind of a double-edged sword, but ironically enough, he's carrying a double-edged sword in this one. A genius, he was also belligerent and homicidal. Do I want to go so far as to say that someone here in this energy space needs to, like, watch their back? There are a couple other things that I was watching through that kind of popped up through the feeds of, I guess they're like warnings from friends, family, lovers, whatever, of just what people are capable of doing. What have you done? What have you done to deserve somebody wanting to take out that level of aggression on you? That part of it I don't understand. His frequent travels were due to law evasion, not wanderlust. Law evasion, escaping accountability. Avoidance came to mind too. What are we avoiding? What are we not looking at? What are you avoiding? What are you not looking at? Because that is what needs to be addressed in this space so that we can, I guess, landscape our environment in such a way where we can be our greatest selves. Plague left him a young orphan, immense talent, won him high society's patronage. Like his life, his paintings are passionate and bloody contrasts, light and dark, innocence and brutality, with lots of severed heads. David with the head of Goliath. While killing it professionally, Caravaggio literally killed the pimp. He then made his final masterpieces as a fugitive and died shortly after being jumped by vengeful assailants who busted his face and eyesight. Jesus Christ. Interesting what we esteem. Interesting the truths that are hidden in things. Or I pulled out Alice in Wonderland and something came out about Lewis Carroll or whatever. I saw something and it was talking about there's no evidence or whatever that he was on magic mushrooms when he wrote the book. However, he was fond of hanging out with little girls. It's kind of as far as that went. I mean, there's a lot that we can assume within that. And it's just, where does the inspiration come from in the things that we are consuming visually, let's say aesthetically? Because I talk about this all the time in the art classes. Mentioned it yesterday, who were the first artists and why. You know, you have to be esteemed to a certain caliber so you understand the responsibility that you have to the collective in creating imagery. I've got theories and ideas that our energetic frequencies, thoughts, intentions, whatever that energy is, as it's transmuted into the artwork or the art pieces carry that same frequency and energy. Aside from the aesthetic qualities or values or what it might look like, you know, if it looks cool or not, it holds a resonance to it, or there's an energy to it that once, I guess, consumed or once confronted by, there's an impact in the psyche, or there's a transference of that frequency, good, bad, or indifferent. If it's a low vibrational frequency that you're carrying forward, or if you're esteeming the lying, cheating, pillaging, raping, killing, whatever, like, and then punishing the good people or putting people down for not doing those things. Like, see, we just live in this bass-ackwards society where things just aren't what they seem to be. And that ability to discern is going to be really important. So we're going to discern within that, because I think there are going to be more challenges. A personal pain point to share. I'd love a cup of coffee too. I would really love a cup of coffee right now, and I didn't have time to make coffee this morning. And I just felt really called to this. Okay, losing my train of thought here. It's fine, but it's not fine, right? That personal pain point. Something I've been really frustrated by most recently. Just progressively more and more so in that pain point. I know myself pretty well. Been doing the work, going to therapies, going to the practitioners, going to the classes, getting the education, getting all the things, all the knowledge, all that infused in there. And I've gotten very good at what I do. In the realm of academia, the proof is in the pudding. And trying to, I guess, translate that or bring that into the real world, or into the world outside of that. Just notice this fucking pain point. I can be very clear, very direct. This is what I need. These are the boundaries. These are the rules. This is where I'm at. This is what I need right now. This is what's going on. This, like, in having that clarity in communicating to people, hey, we're having this conversation because this is what I need, because this is what I don't have. This is what I can do for you because this is what I need. And people are like, yeah, okay. Then they dismiss everything that you've said. They don't listen to you. They don't give you what you need. They're not respecting the boundaries. They're not respecting the time. They're not respecting the space. They're not respecting the intellect. And they come around to this scapegoating thing where they get mad and they want to start pointing fingers and they want to make it out like I've done something wrong. And don't get me wrong. If I'm in the wrong, you can approach me with that. I can acknowledge that. I can address my own behavior. I can do that. But what is not wrong is the initiation process of the stipulations. This is what I need in order to function. And people are like, well, I'm not going to give you what you need. I need you to do this, and I'm going to give you this because I want to be in control of the situation. Fuck what you think, fuck what you say, fuck what you need, I need. So those needs are going to override, and then when my needs aren't met, I can't function. Okay, I've clearly stated, this is what I need in order to function. You're like, okay, I can do that. And then you don't fulfill my needs, and I can't function. And then when I can't function, then you go into this space of you, bad, and you're trying to point fingers, and you're trying to turn all this thing around, and you're trying to somehow make it that I'm the problem for not caving into your needs. Pain point. Because this keeps happening. And this keeps happening in so many different ways, especially in work-related positions when it comes to self-worth and when it comes to finances. And I find that that's the space where I'm taken advantage of the most. And it's really frustrating and it's really annoying. And if I talk about it or if I want to whatever, then because of the stereotypes, because of the womanness, because of this or because of whatever, people go, oh yeah, it's your fault, you're gonna whatever. There's no fucking justice. Pain point, okay? When you have that like autistic sense of justice, those little minor injustices or those little fucked up things, they build up and they stack up, and it's just, here I am trying to come out of a space of rest. I got a big load I gotta carry, and there's no help. It's like, help, hello, I need, hello, over here, can somebody, like, I need some, and people are just like, yeah, whatever. Oh my god, somebody over there is making noise and making me uncomfortable and exposing things inside of me, my own issues and whatever, and I have to confront, and I can, and like, they just shut down and block out, and it's just too much. It's just too much, and I don't see how anybody in the world can continue to function with that being the standard and social norm. That's why that healthcare CEO got shot. That's why people are steaming the guy who killed off the guy who's fucking over people financially over healthcare. You know, like, people are reaching their breaking points collectively, socially. Like, these things that aren't working anymore, people are addressing it. I don't know that they're coming up with solutions or anything. Don't live to 94 without founding an art movement. The practical should also be art. Does your geometry lack poetry? Or this one for you too. Does your poetry lack geometry? Think of these mathematical equations and these formulas. This guy came out, he kind of popped out on me earlier too. Learn everything from nothing. Include yourself in a list of materials. Enroll in a judo class. What are you guys trying to tell us here? Because look at directly whatever you're avoiding. Okay, bullseyes in the margins. Listen when its city tells its secrets. Okay, like the things are showing up for us to deal with and for us to work through. So are you dealing with it? Are you working through it? And no, I'm not saying, like, you know, go shoot CEOs and that's the way to solve the problem. We had the warning yesterday and the one that popped out today with Caravaggio. We're avoiding the violent side of things. We can circumnavigate that. We're not going to necessarily perpetuate a system based off something that's that. But I don't want to go into that because that's just going to confound this, I think, a little more than it needs to. Because people will put things out there, but there's a prose missing, or there's structure missing, or there's like is it a lack of empathy? Or just an inability to see outside of one's circumstances or something. And then how do you address it? How do you approach it? King of Oysters, a person of grace and charm with natural leadership and business abilities, intelligent, loyal, successful, courageous, punctual. Corruption and collusion, a codger, danger, faithlessness, going for ends without consideration of means. Watch the corruption. Is that what that is? I wish I had one of my other decks with me today. I just don't. Page of Oysters, you popped out again. Thanks for jumping into this space and for showing up here. I can get the sense that a lot of people are in pain and a lot of people are hurting, and we don't talk about that kind of stuff and we don't approach it, and so it just kind of pushes in there, and so here's an opportunity where we can talk about pain points. I'm trying to get myself out of, I guess, this like isolated hole or something that I've been in this space of deep rest. And I just keep thinking, like, how did I get here? How did I get here? How did this happen? And it's just fucking shitty people. You can do everything right. You can play by the rules. You can do the things the way that you're supposed to do them, or like in the ethical way. But at the end of the day, doesn't mean that you're going to be rewarded at the end of it. So you got to do right anyway. I'm starting to get like a like pressure kind of pushing in the side of my head this way. So I want to invite you to take this opportunity, thank you, yeah, to kind of ground some of these stressors and pressures out. I feel like there's a lot of, say, energetic cords, columns that aren't hitting the ground. They're not connecting into the earth so that the information can process and go through and then like regenerate. Recycle came up, was it yesterday or something like that, or the day before? So what I feel like is happening right now with all this pressure, because there's just pain points kind of infused into this reading. There's some of you where those anchors aren't planting into the ground, and they're kind of, let's say, coming out second and third chakras. I don't know that there's really much coming. There might be some coming out of thirds or something like that, and they're coming at me. Like, I feel it. They're like like the shut ups, you don't know what you're talking about, or the whatever, or the judgments, or like the pain points that are coming up in people, and they're like putting it back on me at the moment. I wish you'd stop and just kind of like ground that energy through so we can have a productive conversation about this right now, because wow. Ooh, what's in this energy space? Refuse to be a punching bag. Something's calling me back here. Woo! Oh yeah, I can just feel it. Some of you guys are really mean. But you're here with your judgments and your, you know, your bags for a reason. I mean, you're showing up here for something. So let's alchemize some of that and transmute some of that. I mean, not everybody. Oh no, absolutely not. I mean, there's definitely I think a lot of people maybe who can relate to this too, where oh God, you're doing your darndest to stay grounded and do the right thing and be ethical and approach and love and connect, and it's like deeper than rejection. But whatever that deepness is, I feel it, whether it's mine or it's yours or it's ours or whatever that is. So let's just acknowledge that it's there. And I want to go into the I'm sorry this happened to you, and the hugs and the safe space. But I also feel like it's really important that that energy is, let's say, exalted in the right type of setting or container. I mean, time and place are kind of everything, and I think there are a lot of people who want to go into this pain body space and weep and cry and like just share or just have this like what's this vision I have this picture in my head. It reminds me kind of like like one of Marina Abramovich's art pieces or something like that, where it's got the Eastern European women, I'm sorry, I can't remember the culture, in their skirts, and they're trying to fertilize the earth, you know, so they lift their skirts basically, and then like and stomp their yonis on the ground. And I have this picture in my head that's similar to that, but it's like what is this? Is this like a group of wailing women or something? There's dresses, there's water, and there's just this like but there's all this emotional energy, there's all this pain body that this collective group or these collective groups are pulling out of themselves. They're like extracting it out of themselves and then like leaving it in the container, or like leaving it in the community, or leaving it in the water. And so it's being, that pain body is being perpetuated or being cycled back in, which is the wrong thing. That's not, that you shouldn't have done that. That was a really ignorant thing for somebody to do. Sorry, hand flapping. Give me a second. Just stemming for a minute. We can discuss pain bodies. We can talk about these pain bodies. But there needs to be a transmutation, not so much an exposure. I don't even want to call it an exposure, because it's not exposure therapy. That picture, that's a very energy harvesting kind of a thing. It's like if you call a group of people together to have them all dump their woes and they're, that's a lot of energy. That's a ton of energy. So if you're calling people together and they're all giving you their containers, and you have all these containers, and you're carrying around all these containers, that's a ton of energy that you're carrying. That might feel powerful. That might feel like you're doing something important. But all you're doing is carrying around people's pain bodies, not knowing what to do with it, or just kind of taking it from place to place to place, and it's not being transmuted. These are like pepper grinders in here. Pepper grinders aren't changing the pepper. Pepper's still pepper when it comes out. You're just grinding it. You're making it even finer, right? Which means it falls through the cracks easier, which means it gets into your eyes easier, which means like it's harder to clean up. You know, and all those peppercorns, everything's just like muddled and whatever together. And then you're carrying that. And then what do you do with that? It's that responsibility of the artist. Just because you call yourself something, just because you want to esteem yourself to something as some sort of like spiritual healer, what is the other one I'm thinking of? No, that's okay, we can leave that out. without having gone through the initiation rites. If you're trying to help the collective, but you haven't gone through the initiation rites because you haven't reached that level of esteem yet, you haven't been given that, you have no right to be taking people's stuff like that and carrying it around like you're some sort of savior, because you're not. You're just breaking down something that's already complex and complicated enough, and then making it even more complex and even more fine-tuned and more difficult to deal with. Sorry, things aren't what they seem. Wanting can be better than having. I mean, you can want to do these things. We can, like, want to meet by the body of water and release all of our emotions together, and then have this trauma bonding moment, you know, where we've all experienced the release of some pain and we can now share that in a bonded moment. A composed soul is not necessarily a calm one. Okay, this is Monk. And I think that's really important to notice, right? Because I'm going to be calm and I'm going to hold space for this and for people to give me their blah, you know, so I can take on their blah. And they seem so composed and they put themselves out there. And I've mentioned this one a number of times, because this is how I've internalized or related to my own emotional body, right? In these moments where I feel, because like in the realm of masking, right? In this neurotypical world, as a neurodivergent person, when I'm doing that thing to be calm and keep myself composed and not rock the boat and just kind of whatever, and I'm going through something difficult and I'm having a pain body, or there's things in the environment that are triggering, or there's that sense of injustice because things aren't right, that inner turmoil, that inner bubbles, and it's just, it's overwhelming. It's an overwhelming energy that has to come out somewhere. So as an expressive artist, I take all of that energy and I pull it out and I go and I put it into things. Mainly the self-expression, these sort of platforms. And I'm well aware, as an eccentric person, is whatever, that these things out here, it's not composed, it's very organic, right? It's just, it's flow and it's natural, and people are like, oh my god, like, it can make people really uncomfortable, but at the core, in the center, I mean, that's rock solid, that's stable, there's nothing that's gonna, like, bump that over. So a composed soul is not necessarily a calm one. From the flip of it, too, an uncomposed soul, a squirrely soul, a wiry soul, you know, is not necessarily a crazy one. Not in the slightest. These are some of the most sane, grounded, wise, intelligent people that you can meet. Scream into a canvas, not a pillow. Okay? Scream into a canvas, not a pillow. That's that picture that I have of this group and this whatever, where they're just like screaming into the void. Or they're like, taking that energy and then putting into something else, so that other people can't necessarily see it, hear you, judge you for it, or whatever. There's like a it can be cathartic, however it does not transmute. So you can take that same scream, that same intensity, that same ball of energy, you can transmute it into something creative, into something productive, right? Which, by the way, may look very uncomfortable, may look very odd, may not look pretty, but it's the way it should be. Ask anxiety to pose for you. You can take that literally or something if you want, or but it's acknowledging something for what it is and instead of trying to make it something that it's not. So as you acknowledge it for what it is, it then can be transmuted into something else. It can then become something different. Seems a little bit bass-ackwards, I know, but what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do? You got to do something. You got to make some sort of decision. You can't necessarily be super passive, or can you? Haunted by the premature deaths of his mother and sister from tuberculosis, the religious obsessions of his father, and reoccurring brushes with madness and dis-ease, Edvard Munch poured personal pain and there's that personal pain thing again, and anxiety into a singular style of expressionism, expressing pain in a creative, healthy way. Munch's famous painting, The Scream, is available as a popular emoji today, suggesting that personal terror and stifled cries for help have never had wider circulation, despite the invention of Xanax, ditto for Munch's other renowned works. Anxiety, jealousy, and melancholy. I mean, those are the emotions that they're talking about here. Maybe that's some of the emotions that are coming up because of all this scapegoatedness. Is it anxiety, or the jealousy, or the jealous people that do those sort of things to create the sadness? I mean, it's just kind of reciprocal in some sort of way, because the person who's going to scapegoat you is probably anxious, jealous, and melancholy, and is trying to put all of that energy into you so they can walk around in the world acting like everything's okay when it's not. Let me get into Tracy. Don't hide your dirty sheets in the washer. Concentrate on finding, not losing yourself in your art. That's what they said, right? Decay can be a fertilizer for new ideas. Which is funny, because here's this woman in her yoni, and then I got this picture in my head of the yoni stomping the ground to fertilize the earth. Ai Weiwei's here too. When authority says to be quiet, get a loudspeaker. Art must fight for freedom, or the whole world is a prison. Some things are whole only when they shatter. If you are in a prison, let's call it a panopticon. You know what a panopticon is? It's where you have like one main central guard tower, and then you've got the prisoners. But you don't know whether or not somebody's really in the tower watching you or not, but the thought that maybe they could be there, like you could have the one person, right? Panopticon. Interesting phenomena, psychological phenomena when it comes to imprisonment or being contained and being watched, or the thought of being watched and the thought of being observed. How do I put this? If you're in a panopticon and you and all your fellow prisoners go to a specific location within this panopticon to cry about your situation and to share and commiserate in the situation of being in this prison, one, you're being observed, you're being watched, they're watching you do this. And like that container, here, you invite these people in, they're wah, and you're inside of this panopticon, you're like, wah, here's my energetic container that's fueling this thing, that perpetuates it. You wouldn't think it would, but it does. too, in this panopticon, and that you're putting the pain body back into the pain body as pepper, like grinded up pepper flakes, right? And all of that is just being recirculated in so that everybody's pain bodies are getting mixed together, and then it's all one big pain body, right? Three. Then we'll start to wrap this up. You expose your vulnerabilities and your weaknesses. You become incredibly vulnerable. You get somebody over here who's going to swoop in and then go, whoop, pull it out, and take that and go do something with it. And then it's not yours anymore. And it creates this false sense of security or this false sense of control, let's call it. Some things are whole only when they shatter. So let's take the illusions here and let's just shatter them all, okay? We'll come up with something really holistic, because I think there are, again, just the ironies in all of these things, because we can, in a right container, put in our woes and we can transmute them and we can turn it into something else. But what comes out of it on the other side of it, how does it work? Did it work? How do you know? Did it change? Did it shift the world? Are people doing things radically, noticeably different? Or does it create a temporary facade, a temporary bandage, false sense of hope and security? I'm at a point in my journey where the last thing I want to do is get with a group of people and like go cry together. That just sounds energetically distressing. And I'm so spongy and I absorb all that shit, and it's just, no. I'm at this point on my journey where we can honor, we can have space for that, we can take that emotional stuff and we can entertain it. But we're going to take some quantum leaps here. We're going to take some quantum steps here in order to transform things, transform consciousness. I've learned along the way that there are, the anatomy and the biology and the quantum metaphysical components and how everything connects. There are shortcuts you can take so you don't have to sit in that pain in order to heal it. Because when you sit in that pain, it just takes more time and it takes more energy, and it can be more distressing and it can be more aggravating. So we're going to shortcut. We're going to go around a lot of these things, and we're going to do things more in a, do I want to call it a tough love way? I want to shift decks here a little bit. Have the ones that I want. Let's go into the Conjure deck, I think. Because I think that one's going to give us some of the most potent effects. Laughter yoga is really effective. If anything, these group sort of things are good at just connecting people and getting people to a point where they can begin to have these conversations and they can begin to do this work. I think it's a very, I don't want to call it initial because it's not initiated. It's a very, like a drive-through method. There's a lot of info here, and a lot of different U's there. And so with no say structure from comments and feedback, things are just coming as they go, going as they come. I find it interesting that I can't really tell. Like, I can see some people when they pop in, but I can't see all of the people when I pop on. Like, when they pop in, I feel like I get a sense that there's like maybe 5 to 10 people kind of regularly engaged as I'm here. But then when I turn these off, I see that like sometimes 40 to 60 or more people have been watching. Or, you know, and they come in and out at different times. And so I feel like it's got to inform this space for sure. Okay, so as we close this space out, we start to shift out of here, and we're getting away from this scapegoating thing, or we are redesigning our mental environmental landscape in order to leap forward consciously, or to progress consciously, to be our greatest selves, to get to this point where, like, okay, fine, things have been tough for a while there. We got to cedar, smudge, clean it out, do the cleansing work, do the ceremonial aspects and components that are around that. The ritual part of it, you gotta kind of steer away from that ritual, because that ritual comes out of ego. And again, like the group of wailing women by the water, it's ritualistic, it's ego based. There's something else driven out of there. It's just, it's not okay. So we have to clean that out. As an energetically sensitive person, I don't want to walk through a public space where people have just like dumped all their shit. I don't care if it's literal shit. I don't care if it's garbage shit. I don't care if it's energetic shit. I don't want to come behind a group of wailing anything and like and have to like walk through that energy. I got moles and hearts. I've got this broken nut here again. The salamander freaking keeps popping up and showing up on us. This coffin idea here too. We're breaking through, or we're breaking down to something here in this, because yesterday was all about taking the power back and reclaiming our power and empowering ourselves, right? Not giving our power away. And today we're addressing the scapegoats and or the people that like to scapegoat, all that scapegoat energy. It's that thing that we have to get through, really, because it's not going to be easy and it's not going to be simple, not in the least. I'm not really sure why I keep coming back to this deck over here. Look at this King of Hearts. These are a couple of I think what I might do in one of my next readings is go for a more traditional spread, and we can delineate, we can attune our cards before we start flipping and pulling them, maybe, to give us something more cohesive. Okay, I mean, we can definitely dive into this a little bit more in a different way, kind of a similar topic, and come at it from a different lens, because there are a lot of triggered people out there, or people who are easily triggered by things. And so by just kind of shaking up the here, I'm really curious to see what will come out and come forward from this. Where are you, hearts? Oh, it's because it's the wrong book. I keep wanting to go back to that. I think I'm getting to this point, kind of in this reading space in general, where the words aren't cutting it anymore. Like, I don't really have the words to explain to you. I feel like I gotta put it in picture form. And kind of go at this in a from a much different approach. Why? Because I think when things are done directly and very literally, there's a lot of room for misinterpretation. Where people get stuck on words, or they get stuck on phrases, and they shut down, open, shut down, open. You guys are processing a lot, huh? I could talk on more pain points, but I don't necessarily want to. This is talking, the King of Hearts is talking about a male or male client, a gray male man, an older man. So this could be very directly related to you. In these situations, this could have to do maybe with somebody else. So we're talking about a man here. Man, or very masculine energy. The man could be scapegoating, the man could be scapegoat, or the masculine energy as far as the woman goes. An older man is watching you, observing you, all of your steps, trying to predict your next move. Like, you gotta fly under the radar or something, because if you put too much information out there, if you give too much information, like it gets weaponized against you or something. The mole, deeper in business and social life. Handshake or agreement, new things coming to the future. Or just like secrets coming out. This is also talking about, can also indicate someone or something that is best to be avoided. So avoiding, what are you avoiding? It's best to avoid something. I mean, maybe it's best to avoid this man. Maybe it's best to just avoid people who scapegoat you. You don't need to approach it head on. I feel like if you're going to approach it head on and try to like break through or try to crack that nut, it's not going to have a good outcome for you. Patience pays weight, and it's not like You don't need to be passive. Passive can be passive aggressive. You can just avoid it. Like, you can, like, walking through that big cloud of, of just people's shit. Like, you don't have to go walk through that, and you can avoid it. You can walk around it. You know, you're not going to want to go walk through all of that, because it's just not going to turn out okay. You're being scapegoated. You're being, let's say, targeted or whatever for being outside of the margins and the normal margins. So, I mean, if we're talking about this one, it's predicting a funeral or some sort of ending, right? You know, the other one's talking a little bit about a new beginnings, something ending, something beginning, again, being in that transitionary point, you know, going from one epic to another epic, you know, so on and so forth. Aquarian from the Piscean. It can also represent temptation from a devil in your life. And I think a lot of this can be temptation to, that's the freaking Bosch picture or whatever of hell. It's just full of temptation. It's like big sex party of drugs and lust and all the whatever, all the wonders and all the things that you could, you know, possibly want. People engaged in their sins, or people engaging for sin, or people getting engaged for sin. You're like locking yourself in hell. That hollow anchorness here too. This is having to protect yourself, because there's just like, especially when you're in this vulnerable space, when you're in this space of rest and something wants something from you or wants to put something on you or blame you for something, you got to keep your guard up. Your protection's compromised. Take precautions, avoid stuff. That's what that avoidance is taking the necessary precautions. Things aren't what they seem, and things are going to be difficult, and people are trying to make things harder than they need to be. You know, people don't necessarily have your highest good in mind. This can be shelter and protection, but you need to connect to the Most High and get grounded in, and then have something much more. Let's just say rejection is protection. That's one that's been kind of helping me out here too. You know, rejection is protection. Something higher than you protecting you from forces unseen and things that you might not see. Restless spirits, right? Things kind of in that way, so needing to cleanse out that energy. Is there anything else here? I don't really think so. My headache is starting to come back, and so I want to go smudge and kind of clear all this off. This one's making me want to shower or something, just because there's this pain body. It's okay. I mean, you can. No, I don't want to say that. I don't want to say you can put all your pain in this container and I'll go transmute it for you later. That's not my responsibility. That's not my duty. You know, I've already given the mouse a cookie. I don't need to give the mouse milk too. Right? We went through that yesterday and creating those boundaries, not taking on more than we need to. Something opposing your attempts. The something in the depth coming out to the forefront. Maybe one more just for closure and clarity's sake. Ooh. Something feels compromised. I don't really feel very well right now. Can I ask a favor of you? Should you possibly care about my well-being at all? Can you pray for me? There's our mole again. Pray for me. Pray for my son. What's coming out? The Joker's coming out. The dark forces are coming out. The hidden, dark, scary, whatever things, and they're coming out. Especially if you're going to start talking about him. You know, if I'm going to keep talking about pain points and pain body points and all of that. Going into these experiences in my life and talking about stuff. Just, it compromises me energetically, and I think I could use all the help I can get right now. There's that Joker card. Let's take that Joker out of here. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. But I see it. And if you're wondering, do I have some dark something or whatever, something floating around me or whatever? Yes, you do, because it's here. It's here. I can feel it in this space. I want to just smudge everything. Part of me is wanting to avoid it. So we're going to alchemize it. But we're shining a light on it, like, hey Joker, we know you're here. We know you're compromising things. We know you are trying to stop and prevent certain things from happening and trying to control a situation. So what can we do to be more safe? What can we do to be protected? I got walking shoes. Let's look at these boots. You guys got questions, you can ask. Work boots. Shoes retain the shape of the foot and therefore the essence of a person. They show where you've been, the terrain you've traversed, and so on. Pleasant crowd or meeting, the results of which will be determined by the company the cards keep. Foretells a long wait for something. It might take a while before you find the right group, the right people. Can prescribe a much needed rest after trials and tribulations. That showed up with Alice. There's just been all these trials and all these tribulations, and it's just you gotta rest. You can't get much done when you're exhausted. It just puts you into that fight or flight mode, into survival mode, where your nervous system starts getting out of whack. Like the farmer coming in from the fields before dinner and kicking off his boots to rest. What's needed to be done has been done. Now we wait. The other side of it's a breach of confidence, devil dealings within your circle, especially from a person who on the outside seems like a follower. So people who you think are your friends probably are not. A breach of confidence and a double dealing. Who's telling all my secrets? I think I finally reached a point in my life too where if it's connecting to people through pain body, it's gonna happen in this space, it's gonna happen in a group, and it's gonna happen in collective space. I'm not gonna say one thing to one person that I'm not gonna say to everybody else. Because what I'm sick and tired of doing is approaching somebody in confidence with a pain point, and then being like, oh, your poor pain point, oh, let me, whatever, take you in and help you, and then, you know, they fuck you over for 2 months work of work, and then they don't pay you $1,000 that they owe you for the work that you've put in, and then they take off to another state. You know, or like, you share a pain body with somebody who pretends to be a friend and a follower, and then they end up going and sleeping with your boyfriend. What else? Oh, yeah. Somebody pretends to be nice and pretends to care about you or whatever, pretends that whatever, and then they go and they push you out of your job and they take everything from you, and then they go and fuck your boyfriend. Or you go to somebody and you share information with them, and you tell them this and that, and they're like, oh, poor thing, and they pretend to care, but then they go and tell all their friends and family. Maybe I'm going to take this opportunity. I don't know that anybody who would show up in this space would be that type of person, but you never know. Maybe somebody here's watching who doesn't have my highest good in mind. But if you are watching this and I did disclose something to you in confidence and you went and blabbed your mouth and you stopped talking to me or something after that or whatever, or the way you interacted with me has changed, go get fucked. Seriously. Get fucked. Eat shit. Go to hell. Like, fuck off. Grow up. Find something better to do. Find something else to put your energy into. Go be a better person instead of coming along and taking my vulnerabilities and my pain points and fucking using those as a means to lift yourself up and elevate yourself up by putting me down. Because you know what? If you're not a safe space for somebody, and people can't rely on you to keep things in confidence, you're a shit fucking person. Like, fuck you. I'm tired of those people. I'm tired of you people. I'm tired of that. I'm fucking sick and tired of it. I'm over it. Like, you got a problem with me? You want to talk shit? Come fucking say it to my face. No, it's fine. It's fine, but it's not fine. I've just wised up to it, and I've just gotten to this point where I see it, saw it, noticed, took notice, put up my bubble, and put you way the fuck over there. Like, you can... So, if you've noticed a shift with me, if we used to be warm and friendly, and now I don't want to make eye contact with you, and now I'm a little bit cold, I know something you think I don't know. Or, bless you, heal you, go find love and peace. Do better, find better, go fucking heal out in the world and stop putting all your toxic bullshit everywhere, you know. The pain bodies, right? Tired of being scapegoated. I'm tired of being blamed for things. I'm tired of being told I'm something I'm not. Tired of being undermined. Tired of being undervalued. I'm sick and fucking tired of being taken advantage of. Like, just I can't do it anymore. You know, like, I clearly stated, this is what I need to function. None of those needs are being met by other people. I'm meeting my own needs myself as best that I can. But my needs aren't being met in the way that I'm asking for other people to meet them. And it's changing me. It's transforming me. It's affecting me greatly. that confidence thing, right? Maybe I'll share this one with you too, this last little pain body point, and then we'll wrap it up. I had gone to a hypnotherapist years ago for some help and assistance with confidence. And she told me, oh, you just seem like you're angry. Come to find out that's some indicator of autism, some autistic traits. Not that I'm angry, I'm autistic. But she took this opportunity, I think, to be very manipulative. And I noticed partway through this session of like, oh fuck, I gotta fucking run and I gotta get out of here because this is not a safe space for me. Watch your healers and your practitioners and people who you think might be your friends, because here's somebody I wanted to be friends with, or I thought we could be, you know, something. We were cool or whatever. This person takes an opportunity while I'm vulnerable to piss me off intentionally, and then to go behind my back and again take my ideas and my concepts and then go and work with somebody trying to undermine, like, all of that bullshit, you know. And I remember her saying when I was leaving her office, oh, you're probably gonna be really mad at me and really mad at so-and-so after this. You know, once you get through that anger, you know, then eventually you'll be confident. It took me, 2 or 3 shamanic reboots, bunch of, like, clearing out energy and whatever. I will give that fucking person 0 credit for any confidence that I have. Maybe like a 1%. Never recommend this person. I will never get close to this person. I will never be vulnerable around this person ever again. I can be nice. I can be respectful. But I'm really getting to this point where I'm tired of, like, biting my tongue and not saying what I want to say in those situations and in those moments. Okay, pain bodies, right? So, like, let's speak our truth. Like, we all go through all of this shit, and I talk about this stuff from this level because drawn private pain to connect with the public, because I'm being guided to, not necessarily because I want to. Damien Hirst, he keeps popping up too, and I keep putting him back in. I'm gonna look at the book though before I read about him, and then I'm just gonna close this and kind of shut this off in a weird, awkward way. No, let's breathe, because I don't want to I don't want to leave this with weird energy, so we're gonna transmute. Damien, more money, more problems, Hearst. Adult enfant terrible. Some among the most celebrated and lucrative artists of the generation. He's talking about mortality. Aided by scientific and pharmaceutical advances, his artwork offers wry commentary on humanity's ineffective faith in tech and medicine to heal our existential wounds. We don't have a healthcare system, we have a sick care system. We got all these, like, woo-woo spiritual practitioners out there, but it's one of the most fucking toxic environments for people to be in. People working themselves to death. All roads lead to a psychological cul-de-sac. His trademark flourishes are the suspension of sharks, calves, cowheads, and dissected pigs in formaldehyde, the diamond incrustation of cast human skulls, and the display of so many pharmaceuticals in backlit cabinets. We live in a sick care system. I don't know how you think you're gonna get any better, or how you're gonna heal yourself doing things in a system that is designed to make you sick. That's why, like, screaming into the void by the water isn't gonna work. Water holds memory. Water's it's an intelligence in and of itself. And if you're gonna put all that into that body of water, and people are gonna come in contact with that water, guess where all that energy is going? Everywhere. It's very irresponsible of you, or of them. I don't want to put that on you. Make it about you and me. You know, it could be them, or those, or they, or whoever. You know, this is a general reading. I kind of have a lot that I want to say here. I have a lot that wants to come out. Just that pain body kind of thing. There's a big part of me that wants to scream it out into the ethers and all of that, but it hasn't helped. It hasn't worked so far. It's not going to be the solution. So let's do something a little different with our biology and our anatomy, because our body, brain, whatever, that connection, it's smart, but it's kind of dumb. So if I am screaming, ah, those are stress hormones that I am excreting throughout my body. Cortisol could be very relieving. Those stress hormones are designed to help us feel better in those stressful situations, but you're polluting, or you're flooding your body with stress hormones when you're into things, and it's exhausting. It's not transmuting. So how do we transmute then, Kelsey? We are going to transmute with the breath and breath control through nostril breathing. We're going to breathe in through our nose, and we're going to breathe out through our mouths. You can try alternate nostril breathing, but breath work, breathing into the body, using the breath as a vehicle and a tool to transmute these emotions and these energies. So that's why we're going to breathe together. I'm just going to kind of clear out this clutter, get it out of our space, get myself kind of grounded, and I promise you, breath work is incredibly powerful. You will think you have an emotion and have a feeling and whatever, but that motion or that feeling might be a secondary or a tertiary emotion or feeling covering up something else, like anger. I asked my anger its real name, and it told me it was grief. Anger is a secondary emotion, right? It's not that it's angry, it's fucking grief, and it's heartache, and it's heartbreak, and it's grief. And grieving and grieving and grieving, and then if there's any anger, it's getting angry because nobody cares that you're grieving and you're in grief, and people are like, yeah, fuck it, whatever, get over it, like, who cares? Or, oh, good, you're grieving, then I can use this opportunity to whatever, have courage. Okay, so our biology, when we're breathing, right, and we're slowing our breath down, if we're speeding our breath up, we can make ourselves really nervous, and we can hyperventilate, is the word. You know, we can send ourselves into a panic attack, or we can make our heart rate elevate. Right? So if we want to go the other direction and we want to transmute things, we want to slow everything down. Let go of the old. Yesterday, letting go of stuff was there as well, but kind of in a different way, because we're going to let go of the breath. And when you get into these breathing patterns and these breathing cycles, especially like through different like Kundalini breaths, meditations, mantras, mudras, whatever, through long extended durations of this, the body begins to take over and the breath begins to find the things that are hidden within the body, those old hidden stored emotions. And then the body is in this state of receptivity and being calm, so that as these old stored things and emotions are coming out and processing, there is the alchemization and the transformation and the transmutation of all these things that are really difficult. It's in the breath. Reveal your truth. I'm getting there, but I tell you what, it has not been easy. It says, do not fear the unknown. We're all connected. Honor Gaia. It hasn't been fucking easy at all. And it's just, I don't feel like anybody cares. I know that's not true. I know there are people who care. And I know the people who care are also going through things that are really difficult and hard. Share your thoughts. But it's okay. I mean, protect the wild and green. Do not fear the unknown. Know your power. Anything else? See the truth. Okay. Nope. We're just going to wrap it up for the day. Again, if you have questions, if you want to reach out for private readings, if something here is triggered or coming up and you need to work through it, let's talk about it and get more specific, or make this attuned to you specifically, because there is a lot going on in this space. There's a lot of energy needing to be worked through, and we can. You just have to reach out to me and be willing to invest in yourself. And me, us, right? In the transmutation in the process. Let's say that. Okay. 3 deep breaths together. Let's start with 1. Starting in through the nose. Okay, we're just going to release everything, let it all out, and we're going to breathe in the good. Light, love, transmutation, and breathe it out. Breathe out all the bad, all the funks, all the anxieties. This is amazing to do in group settings, and I love this so much. You can feel that instant shift when everybody gets their breaths in sync. Let's do 2. You're feeling it already. I know you are. We'll do 3. Ready? Interesting how that works, huh? I've got time tomorrow. Maybe I'll show up here tomorrow. I had time today. Right now I really need coffee and a shower, so I'm gonna go cleanse, clear, flush all this out, smudge the shit out of all of this, reset, carry on through the rest of my day, and just get the warmth and the comfort of something that smells good and tastes good and is homey and grounding. Anything else? I don't think so. If you feel like giving donations or whatever, you can. I got a Venmo. I can put information down for you. I can use all the help I can get right now. As you can as well, I'm sure. Thanks again for showing up in this space. I know it's a little heavy today. It's kind of like a today, and kind of funky. You're not alone in the experience. Your feelings and experiences and all of that, they're validated. If you're scapegoating people and you're making people feel shit to make yourself feel better, do better. If people are doing things to make you feel bad and make you feel like shit, no matter how good you're doing, breathe and just keep swimming. Keep the protection up. Keep the modality up. We're gonna get through this breakthrough point. We're gonna figure it all out. I feel like maybe it's got something to do with all the planets aligning. When is it? January 25th? So in about another month or so, another 4 or 5 weeks, we get all the planets in alignment. So I heard, I could be wrong, but maybe not. So things are aligning and things are shifting and tables are turning and things are chaotic and old problems are going to be requiring new solutions and innovative solutions. People are going to be transforming across the board in all sorts of ways. Society is going to be transforming in all sorts of ways. We get to participate in this transition. Lucky us, huh? Wow, we get to feel all the feels and go through all of the things. We get to do all of this work. Lucky us, huh? Someone's got to do it. Talk to you soon. Bye.